Sundar Pichai was born into a family that was very simple and lived with very little money. His home was a small two-room apartment in a busy neighborhood of Chennai, a big city in southern India. The building was old, and the walls sometimes seemed too thin, letting the sounds of the street and neighbors come through. But inside that little space, there was a strong family bond filled with love and hope. His father, Raghunatha Pichai, was a humble man who worked as an electrical engineer at a company called General Electric. Though his job was important, the money he earned was not very high. It was just enough for the family's basic needs: food, rent, school fees, and a little bit for emergencies. They did not have luxuries like a car or a television at home. For many families around them, owning a TV was normal, but for the Pichais, it was a dream they could not afford. Sundar and his older brother often studied by the light of a single lamp in the evening. Even though money was tight, Raghunatha never let his worries affect his family. He was a calm and hard-working man who believed deeply in education. For him, education was the key to a better life. He used to say to Sundar and his brother, "If you want to change your future, work hard and learn as much as you can. No one can take your knowledge away from you." He told them that knowledge was like a treasure hidden inside their minds, and no one could steal it or take it away. Sundar's mother, Lakshmi, was equally supportive. She took care of the home and made sure her children ate well and stayed healthy. She did not go to school herself but believed in the power of education for her sons. At night, when the city outside was noisy and full of life, the Pichai family would sit together and talk quietly about their dreams. Sundar listened carefully to his parents' words and promised himself that he would work hard to make them proud. From a very young age, Sundar showed signs of being different from other children. He was quiet and thoughtful, but very curious about how things worked. One of his earliest memories was watching his father fix small electrical problems around the house. Raghunatha was skilled with tools and could fix switches, fans, and lights when they stopped working. Sundar wanted to understand what made the lights turn on or the fans spin. He would often ask questions, and his father would patiently explain. In school, Sundar was not just an average student. He was extremely bright and loved subjects like mathematics and science. Numbers fascinated him, especially when he saw the world of codes, circuits, and technology. He had a special talent for remembering long phone numbers and codes, something that surprised his teachers and classmates. His friends called him a computer, jokingly, because he could recall so much information easily. Despite his love for studies, Sundar never felt like showing off. He was humble and polite to everyone around him. His teachers noticed his focus and encouraged him to dream big. In class, he would listen carefully and ask questions when he did not understand. He believed learning was not just about passing exams, but about understanding the world. At home, education was taken very seriously. Sundar's father often told stories from his own youth about how difficult it was to find good schools and teachers. Raghunatha was proud of Sundar's interest in electronics and often gave him small projects to work on. Sometimes he would bring home old radios or broken devices, and together they would try to fix them. These simple moments became special memories for Sundar. They were not just about fixing machines, but about spending time with his father and learning from him. The family's financial situation meant that Sundar could not always have the best books or tools, but this never stopped him from trying to learn. He spent hours in the local library reading about computers and technology. The library was a quiet place filled with rows of books and magazines. For Sundar, it was like a treasure chest full of knowledge waiting to be opened. He would borrow books on electronics and computers, even if he did not fully understand everything at first. Slowly, he began to piece together ideas and concepts. Raghunatha's dream was to see his son become an engineer or scientist, someone who could change the world through technology. He often reminded Sundar that talent alone was not enough. Hard work and patience were more important. This was a lesson Sundar kept close to his heart. When things became difficult or confusing, he would remember his father's words and keep going. Life was not easy for the Pichai family, but they faced every challenge with courage. Sometimes there were power cuts in their neighborhood that lasted for hours. During those times, Sundar would sit with his family under the flickering light of a candle, continuing his studies with determination. Electricity might go off, but his thirst for learning never dimmed. Sundar's neighborhood was full of children from different backgrounds. Some had more money and better homes, but Sundar did not feel jealous. Instead, he focused on what he could do with what he had. His parents taught him to be grateful for the little things. They believed kindness and respect were more important than wealth or possessions. At school, Sundar began to realize that his hard work was paying off. He won prizes for mathematics and science fairs, and his teachers praised his dedication. Even when facing competition from children with better resources, Sundar's perseverance made him stand out. His friends admired his intelligence and gentle nature. The small apartment where Sundar lived was not just a house. It was a place filled with hope. His parents saved money whenever they could to buy books and stationery for their sons. Sometimes the family would go without new clothes or treats to make sure Sundar had what he needed for school. Raghunatha worked extra hours when possible, and Lakshmi managed the household carefully, making every rupee count. Sundar's childhood was shaped by these small sacrifices, but also by love and encouragement. His parents never let him feel that poverty was a barrier to his dreams. Instead, they taught him that it was a challenge to overcome, not a reason to give up. One important moment came when Sundar was in high school. He was introduced to the world of computers for the first time. The school had a small computer lab, with a few machines donated by a local company. Sundar was fascinated by the machines and quickly learned how to use them. He spent hours experimenting with software and programming languages, amazed at how he could create simple programs. This new passion excited Sundar even more. He told his parents about his interest, and they were supportive, even though they did not fully understand computers themselves. Raghunatha said, "If this is what you love, then keep learning. You never know where it will take you." As Sundar prepared to finish school, the pressure to succeed grew. His parents encouraged him to apply to the Indian Institute of Technology, IIT, one of the country's most prestigious engineering schools. Getting admitted to IIT was very competitive, and many students studied for years to pass the tough entrance exam. Sundar took this challenge seriously. He studied day and night, sometimes waking up early and staying up late. His determination was fueled by the hope of making a better life for himself and his family. When the results were announced, Sundar's hard work paid off. He was accepted into IIT Kharagpur. This achievement was celebrated quietly at home. It was a proud moment for the whole family, but they knew this was just the beginning. The journey ahead would require even more effort and sacrifices. Throughout these years, Raghunatha remained Sundar's greatest supporter. He taught him that success was not just about money or fame, but about character. Be kind, stay humble, and never forget where you come from, he often said. These words stayed with Sundar as he stepped into the next phase of his life. Sundar's story in this first part is one of quiet strength, family love, and hope. It shows how a simple boy from a small apartment, with no luxuries, can dream big when supported by parents who believe in the power of education and hard work. It is a reminder that true success starts from the values and sacrifices made in humble beginnings. After Sundar Pichai was accepted into IIT Kharagpur, his life started to change slowly, but the road ahead was still filled with many challenges. The excitement of getting admission into one of the best engineering colleges in India was mixed, with worry and responsibility. For Sundar's family, especially his father Raghunatha, this was a moment of pride, but also one of deep concern. The fees, travel expenses, and living costs in a city far from home meant a lot of sacrifices would have to be made. Raghunatha worked as an electrical engineer, earning a modest salary that just covered their daily expenses. He had to find ways to manage the household money carefully while saving enough to support Sundar's education. There were times when he took extra shifts or worked overtime, hoping the extra money would ease the burden on the family. His determination to provide for his son was strong. He believed that no matter how hard things got, investing in Sundar's future was the most important thing he could do. The family had always lived simply, but now the simplicity was pushed to the extreme. Sundar's mother, Lakshmi, became even more careful with their limited resources. She managed the household budget tightly, cutting down on anything that wasn't absolutely necessary. Sometimes they ate simple meals with just rice and vegetables instead of richer food, so Sundar could have his tuition and books. Lakshmi's sacrifices were quiet but huge. She never complained but worked silently to keep the family together. Sundar himself was aware of these sacrifices. He felt a mix of gratitude and pressure every day. He knew his parents were giving up comforts so he could study. This motivated him to work even harder. He wanted to succeed not just for himself, but for the whole family. He promised himself that he would make the hard work worthwhile and not let his parents down. At IIT Kharagpur, Sundar faced a new world. The campus was huge compared to his small apartment in Chennai. There were students from all over India, many from wealthy families with the latest gadgets and clothes. Sundar did not have the same luxuries. He wore simple clothes and carried a modest bag. But he didn't feel left out because he had his own strength, his intelligence, and determination. The academic pressure at IIT was intense. Classes were tough, and competition was fierce. Many students were very talented and had studied hard for years to get there. Sundar focused on understanding the concepts deeply rather than just memorizing. He often stayed late in the library, reading textbooks and solving difficult problems. He made friends with students who shared his passion for technology and learning. Though the studies were demanding, Sundar also discovered the importance of balance. He took part in discussions, group projects, and small technology clubs. These activities helped him grow not only academically but also socially. He learned teamwork, leadership, and communication skills. His humble nature made him approachable and well-liked among peers and professors alike. Meanwhile, back home, Raghunatha and Lakshmi continued their daily routines with quiet hope. Raghunatha's work was not easy. As an engineer, he sometimes faced long hours and stress. But the thought of Sundar studying hard kept him going. Every paycheck he earned was a step toward fulfilling his dream for his son. When Sundar completed his studies at IIT, he had another important opportunity: a scholarship to study at Stanford University in the United States. This was a huge deal, because Stanford was one of the top universities in the world. It promised exposure to cutting-edge technology and a chance to learn from the best minds globally. However, going abroad for higher education was a challenge for the family. The ticket to America alone was expensive, and they needed money for living expenses there. Raghunatha and Lakshmi had no savings big enough to cover these costs. They made the difficult decision to take out loans and use whatever life savings they had. This decision was not easy. It meant living even more simply, with the burden of debt hanging over them. Despite the fears and uncertainties, they never showed doubt in front of Sundar. They wanted him to feel confident and hopeful. Raghunatha told him, "This is your chance to shine. We believe in you." Sundar felt the weight of this trust deeply. The day Sundar left for America was emotional. His parents hugged him tightly at the airport. They knew their son was going far away to a world they had never seen. They worried about how he would adjust to a new culture, language, and environment. But they also knew this was the beginning of a new chapter filled with possibilities. In the United States, Sundar faced many new experiences. The campus was large, and the technology was far more advanced than what he had seen before. He sometimes felt homesick but stayed focused on his studies. He worked hard in his classes, learning about computer science and technology. He also had to manage his finances carefully, just as his family had done back home. Scholarships and assistantships helped, but he lived modestly, often cooking his own food and sharing a small apartment with other students. He remained humble and grounded, remembering the values his parents had taught him. During this time, Sundar's parents continued to support him from afar. They spoke regularly on the phone, encouraging him and sharing news from home. Raghunatha would ask about his studies and remind him to take care of himself. Lakshmi would tell him to eat well and stay healthy. These simple conversations were filled with love and hope. Over time, Sundar's hard work and dedication paid off. He completed his master's degree at Stanford and went on to work for big technology companies, eventually joining Google. This was the moment when all the sacrifices of his parents began to show their worth. Looking back, Sundar never forgot the sacrifices his father made. He remembered the long hours Raghunatha worked and the financial struggles the family endured, so he could study. These memories kept Sundar humble and motivated. They also made him appreciate the value of hard work, perseverance, and family support. The story of Sundar's journey through IIT and Stanford is not just about academic success. It is about the sacrifices of a father who put his family's needs before his own. It is about the strength of a family that believed in education as a way to change their lives. And it is about a young man who took those sacrifices and turned them into a future full of possibilities. This part of the story reminds us that behind every success story, there are countless unseen struggles and sacrifices. It shows the importance of family, hope, and determination in overcoming obstacles. Sundar's life was shaped by the quiet courage of his parents, who gave him wings to fly even when the path was uncertain. Years had passed since Sundar Pichai had left India to study in America. He was now working for Google, one of the biggest technology companies in the world. His hard work, intelligence, and humble attitude had helped him grow steadily. Sundar was proud of his achievements, but he never forgot his roots or the family that had supported him from the very beginning. One day Sundar decided to invite his parents, Raghunatha and Lakshmi, to visit him in the United States. It was a special moment for all of them, because it was the first time his parents would see the country where their son had built his career and life. Raghunatha and Lakshmi were both excited and nervous. They were eager to meet the world their son had told them so much about, but also unsure of what to expect. When they arrived, they were amazed by the new surroundings. The tall buildings, busy streets, and wide highways were very different from the narrow lanes and small apartments they knew back home. Everything seemed bigger and faster. Sundar was happy to show them around, introducing them to his life in Silicon Valley. One day, Sundar took his parents to a popular luxury mall. It was a place full of shiny shops, expensive brands, and beautiful clothes. Raghunatha and Lakshmi walked slowly, looking around with curiosity. They had never seen so many fancy stores before, and everything seemed like a dream. Raghunatha, dressed in his simple traditional Indian clothes, felt both proud and a little out of place. He was the kind of man who had never cared much about fashion or wealth. His happiness came from his family and the small joys of life. But today he was curious about this new world. He entered a high-end fashion store. The clothes were unlike anything he had seen. Soft fabrics, bright colors, and elegant designs filled the shelves and racks. Raghunatha moved slowly, touching the clothes gently, trying to understand their quality. He hoped to find something nice for himself, or maybe for Sundar. Suddenly, a store employee approached him. The man looked at Raghunatha quickly, then glanced at his clothes and face. Instead of greeting him warmly or offering help, the employee said something that hurt deeply. He told Raghunatha that the store might not have anything in his price range, and suggested he might be better off looking elsewhere. Raghunatha's heart sank. He was stunned by the coldness in the employee's voice and the judgment in his eyes. For a moment he felt invisible, as if he did not belong there. He smiled politely but quickly left the store, hiding the sadness he felt inside. Sundar had been nearby and saw the entire interaction. He could see the pain in his father's eyes. Sundar felt a deep anger and disappointment, but he did not say anything at that moment. He understood that his father, a man of dignity and pride, did not want to make a scene or draw attention to himself. Later, Sundar talked to his parents about the incident. Raghunatha told him it was okay, and that he did not want to spoil the day. But Sundar could tell it was not easy for his father to forget. That small moment of rejection was a reminder of the social and economic differences that still existed, even in the new and modern world Sundar was part of. This experience made Sundar reflect on the barriers people face because of wealth, appearance, or background. He realized that success was not just about money or position, but also about respect and kindness. The incident stayed with him, a quiet reminder of how the world could sometimes be unfair. Despite this painful moment, the visit was full of happy memories. Sundar's parents enjoyed seeing their son's workplace, meeting his colleagues, and experiencing the culture of the United States. They loved the gardens, the clean streets, and the friendly people they met. But that day at the luxury store was one they would never forget. Sundar promised himself to always remember the lessons. From that day, he wanted to build a world where no one would feel rejected or looked down upon because of how they dressed or where they came from. For Sundar, it was a call to create opportunities for all people, to treat everyone with respect, and to lead with empathy. Back home, when Sundar's parents shared their stories with relatives and friends, they spoke about the kindness they saw in many places, but also about the harsh reality of being judged unfairly. Their story inspired others to think about how we treat people who may seem different from us. In the years that followed, Sundar carried this experience with him as he rose higher in his career. He became one of the most powerful leaders in technology, but he remained humble and grounded. He often spoke about the importance of diversity, inclusion, and treating everyone with dignity. The moment when his father was rejected at the luxury store was never a source of shame. Instead, it became a source of strength and motivation. It reminded Sundar that true success was not measured by wealth or status, but by the kindness we show and the barriers we break down. Sundar's journey showed that even the smallest moments in life could teach the greatest lessons. It taught him to value people for who they are, not for what they wear or how much money they have. And it taught the world that behind every great success story, there are quiet acts of courage and dignity that shape the person. After the incident at the luxury store, Sundar Pichai's feelings grew even stronger about fairness, respect, and equality. The experience was painful, but it also opened his eyes to the reality that many people face every day. A reality where people are judged not by their character or abilities, but by their appearance or wealth. For Sundar, this was a call to action. He wanted to create a better world, a world where everyone, no matter their background, would be treated with dignity. In his role at Google, Sundar had many opportunities to influence big decisions and shape the company's future. He began thinking deeply about how technology could be used to make life easier and fairer for people all around the world. Google was already a powerful company, touching billions of lives with its search engine, apps, and tools. Sundar realized that with this power came great responsibility. One of the things Sundar focused on was making technology accessible to everyone, including people who lived in rural or poor areas, who often did not have good internet or expensive devices. He believed that education and information should be free and easy to reach, no matter where a person lived or how much money they had. To him, technology was a tool that could break down barriers, not create new ones. Sundar worked hard with his team to develop products that were simple to use, affordable, and helpful for people everywhere. For example, Google's Android operating system was designed to run on low-cost smartphones so that even people who could not buy expensive phones could still connect to the internet and learn new things. This was very important to Sundar because he remembered how hard it was for him and his family to afford technology growing up. Sundar also believed in the power of education. He supported programs that helped children and young adults learn skills in science, technology, engineering, and math, STEM. He knew that education had changed his life and wanted others to have the same chance. He encouraged Google to partner with schools and nonprofits to bring computers, internet access, and training to those who needed it most. But Sundar's vision went beyond just making products or supporting education. He wanted to change the culture inside the company too. He promoted a workplace where everyone felt included and respected, no matter their background, gender, or race. He believed that diversity made the company stronger, because people with different experiences brought new ideas and better solutions. Under Sundar's leadership, Google became more focused on fairness and kindness. He made sure that the company treated its employees well and supported equal opportunities for all. He also spoke openly about the need to address unfairness in society and how technology could be part of the solution. Sundar's personal story inspired many people inside and outside the company. People admired how he stayed humble despite his success. He never forgot where he came from or the struggles his family faced. When asked about his journey, Sundar often talked about his parents and the sacrifices they made. He said that their love and support gave him the strength to keep going even in difficult times. The memory of his father's rejection at the luxury store stayed with Sundar like a quiet lesson. It reminded him of the invisible walls that society sometimes builds around people. Sundar wanted to be a leader who broke down those walls and helped build bridges instead. Beyond his work at Google, Sundar also used his voice to speak about social issues. He participated in conferences and meetings where he discussed the importance of empathy, respect, and equal opportunities. His story showed that success was not just about achieving personal goals, but about making the world a better place for everyone. Sundar's leadership style was different from many other leaders. He listened carefully to others, was open to new ideas, and was not afraid to admit mistakes. This made people trust him and want to work with him. He believed that good leadership meant serving others, helping people grow, and creating environments where everyone could do their best. As Sundar rose to become the CEO of Google and later of Alphabet, the parent company, his values guided every decision he made. He wanted the company to be a force for good in the world. He pushed for innovations that helped people with disabilities, protected the environment, and improved healthcare. His vision was to use technology not just for profit, but to improve human life everywhere. At home, Sundar continued to be close to his family. He often talked to his parents about their dreams and their simple life in India. He was grateful for their sacrifices and always made sure they felt proud and loved. Sundar's journey was a reminder that no matter how far you go in life, your roots and values stay with you. In many ways, Sundar's story is about hope. It shows how a boy from a small apartment in Chennai, with parents who worked hard but had little money, could grow up to lead one of the world's greatest companies. But it also shows that success is not just about reaching the top. It is about staying true to yourself, lifting others as you climb, and using your power to make the world kinder and fairer. This part of Sundar's story teaches us that leadership is about more than business. It is about character, kindness, and courage. It reminds us that the challenges we face can become our greatest strengths if we use them to help others. And it shows that even when the world is sometimes unfair, there are people like Sundar who work every day to change it for the better. Sundar Pichai's journey from a small apartment in Chennai to becoming the CEO of one of the world's largest companies is inspiring and full of lessons. But what makes his story truly special is not just his success, but how he uses his success to make a difference in the world. In this final part of his story, we see how Sundar embraces his role as a leader with great responsibility, humility, and kindness. When Sundar became CEO of Google, and later Alphabet, he faced many challenges. Leading a giant company means making difficult decisions every day. People look to you for direction, and your choices can affect millions of lives. Sundar knew this well. He carried the hopes and expectations of his employees, his customers, and even his family on his shoulders. Despite the pressure, Sundar remained calm and focused. He believed that leadership was not about showing power, but about serving others. This belief came from his upbringing and the values his parents taught him. He remembered the sacrifices they made and the lessons they gave him about kindness and respect. Sundar wanted to make Google a place where innovation and empathy went hand in hand. Technology could be powerful, but it must be used responsibly. He encouraged his teams to think about how their work could improve people's lives. Whether it was creating tools for education, helping doctors with better information, or fighting climate change through clean technology, Sundar pushed for projects that made a real difference. One of the things Sundar focused on was making Google a company that valued diversity and inclusion. He understood that when people from different backgrounds, cultures, and experiences come together, they create better ideas. Sundar worked hard to build a culture where everyone felt they belonged and could contribute their best. This was important to him because he knew how hard it could be to succeed when you feel different or left out. Sundar also faced criticism and challenges. As a leader of such a large company, decisions are not always popular, and sometimes the world expects too much. But Sundar stayed humble and open to learning. He listened to feedback, admitted mistakes when they happened, and always tried to do better. His humility earned him respect from many people inside and outside the company. At the same time, Sundar never forgot his family and roots. Even with his busy schedule, he made time to connect with his parents and relatives in India. He shared his life with them and celebrated their simple joys. His family remained his strongest support system, reminding him of who he was and where he came from. Sundar's story shows us that success is not just about personal achievement. It is about lifting others, creating opportunities, and making the world a better place. He became a role model for millions of people, especially young Indians and immigrants, who dream of making it big in the world. Sundar's life is proof that with hard work, determination, and kindness, anything is possible. One of the most important lessons from Sundar's journey is about resilience. Life is full of ups and downs, and no path to success is easy. Sundar faced many challenges, from financial struggles to moments of rejection and doubt. But he never gave up. Instead, he used those challenges to grow stronger. This resilience helped him overcome obstacles and keep moving forward. Another lesson is about the power of education. Sundar's life was transformed by learning and knowledge. Education opened doors for him and his family. It gave him the tools to dream bigger and work harder. Sundar believes that education is a right for everyone, not a privilege for a few. He continues to support programs that help children and adults access quality education around the world. Sundar's story also teaches us the importance of staying true to one's values. Success can sometimes change people, but Sundar remained humble and kind. He never forgot the lessons from his parents or the experience of being rejected at the luxury store. These memories shaped his character and leadership style. In many ways, Sundar's journey is a celebration of the human spirit. It shows that no matter where you start, your dreams and values can carry you far. It reminds us that success is not just about fame or money, but about making a positive impact on the world and respecting others along the way. Today, Sundar Pichai continues to inspire people with his story. He is a symbol of hope, perseverance, and kindness. He shows us that True leadership is about empathy and service. His life encourages us to believe in ourselves, work hard, and always remember where we come from. This final part of Sundar's story invites us to think about our own journey. What challenges will we face? How will we respond to rejection or unfairness? What kind of leader do we want to be? Sundar's example teaches us that with courage, compassion, and determination, we can overcome difficulties and make a difference in the world. In the end, Sundar's story is not just about a man or a company. It is about all of us. It is about the power of dreams, the strength of family, and the importance of kindness. It is a reminder that no matter how far we go, our true success is measured by the love we give and the respect we show to others.